Good morning, guys. Welcome to TalentBlazer, India's latest tech platform that is there to help you at every stage of your career. Now, I'm your friend and teacher in this journey, and I'm covering UGC NET Paper 2 Commerce. The subject code for the same is 08. And in today's class, I'll start Unit 3, that is title Business Economics. And you can expect few questions from this unit because the weightage changes every time. It's not fixed that you will definitely get 5 questions from it. But business economics, it's a very good, very favorite subject of UGC. They actually do ask many questions from this unit. And I hope most of you, those who are watching this video, they have started their preparation because the examination form for UGC NET is out, and the exam will be conducted in sometime in June. So I hope most of the viewers who are watching this video are ready for the examination, and these videos, the content that TalentBlazer is providing, will help you in revising the video, and certainly the inputs that I will provide you in the following videos or in this video will help you to crack the examination as well. And one most important thing that I have to tell you before starting today's class is that download TalentBlazer app that is available for free on Google Play Store. It is important because certainly you can attempt so many mock tests for free, and mock test is the key to success. Many students sometimes ask me what is the reason that you were able to clear your JRF in the first attempt, and my answer has been same forever. And you know practice mock test and previous years, and that will help you get JRF. Not even UGC NET, you will be able to get the JRF in your first attempt, right? So we are starting with Unit 3, Business Economics. And in economics, the first concept that I want to discuss with you guys is utility. Right, so I think most of you must have studied this in your microeconomics, right? Utility is the power or capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants. So that is the definition. But if I have to tell you about this with the help of an example, it's very warm and hot weather in Delhi these days, and in the in the northern states of India. So let's suppose if I have been to outside and I've come back to home, the first thing that I want is a glass of water, and that is to be a chilled glass of water. So I will have one glass of water, and even then, my I won't be very satisfied. I need one more glass of water. But after a while, if you are pouring the water again and again in my glass, I will say stop because I have reached my limit. Right. So that is the utility that you are deriving. I am deriving the satisfaction from the water, but after a while, that satisfaction will fall. So we'll study about all of this. Utility is the power or a capacity of a commodity to satisfy human wants. So in this example, water is a commodity that will satisfy my thirst, right? Alternatively, utility of a commodity means the amount of satisfaction that a person gets from consumption of a good or service, right? So, let's suppose if you're watching something, right, that is the service that is being provided. Let's suppose I'm watching cricket, watching IPL, and that is an entertainment service. So let's suppose if I am one of those cricket enthusiasts, I want to watch those games and I will be satisfied. Today's match was great. It was a very close encounters. It went to super over and something like that, right? So that will increase my satisfaction with that match, right? But let's suppose if I'm watching cricket continuously, on a repeat, then I will be bored, right? So there are two types of utility: cardinal utility approach, which is also known as marginal utility analysis, or Alfred Marshall utility analysis. There's a question right there for you because it's an MCQ paper, and this is how your question comes, right? Alfred Marshall utility analysis, or basically you will get a question. Cardinal utility is also known as, you have to mark the right one, right option. That is Alfred Marshall utility analysis. It has come in previous year paper as well. Very important for you guys to know this. Right. So it states the satisfaction that the consumer derives by consuming goods and service can be measured with a number. So we are quantifying the satisfaction. Right. cardinal utility is measured in terms of util, right? As we measure so many things, weight in kilos, right? Cardinal utility is measured in terms of utils, the units on scale of utility of satisfaction. According to cardinal utility, the goods and services that are able to derive a higher level of satisfaction to a consumer will be assigned higher utils, and goods that result in lower level of satisfaction will be assigned lower units, right? So we can basically in this we can say, okay, this good, let's suppose there is a scale of 1 to 10, and I am consuming Chinese food, right? I am a big fan of Chinese food, so I will rate them 10. So basically I'm saying that I can quantify the number here, that it was 10 on 10. So but while if I have to tell about, let's suppose I am given Italian or something different cuisine and I don't like it, I will rate it less, right? So that is giving the number to the satisfaction that I have received. So it states the satisfaction that a consumer derive by consuming goods or services that can be measured with a number, right? So now in terms of utils, you have to remember this. And the other thing that you have to be remembering for your examination is that cardinal utility approach is also known as Alfred Marshall utility analysis, because Alfred Marshall was the one who gave this cardinal utility approach, right? Now, we if we uh, let me just a second. So now if we have to talk about a second type of cardinal utility approach, that is also known as indifference curve analysis. I think everyone must who have read economics must be knowing about the indifference curve, or J dot R dot Hicks analysis. There's a question right there for you. Cardinal utility approach, indifferent curve analysis, or JRH analysis. This is, you have to remember, indifference curve analysis. And the first one that we just discussed was marginal utility analysis, which we also call as Alfred Marshall utility. And indifference curve analysis is also known as JRH analysis. So it states that the satisfaction the consumer derives from consumption of goods and services cannot be measured in numbers. So in the previous theory, in the previous approach, you were saying that satisfaction can be measured in number, but this is quite opposite of it. This is that satisfaction cannot be measured in numbers. Rather, ordinal utility, this is ordinal utility, uses a ranking system in which a rank is provided to the satisfaction that is derived from consumption, right? So rather ordinal utility, oh, I think there is some, yeah. So in this one, if I have to talk about, right, so in this ordinal utility approach, uses a ranking system which I actually rank the food according to the satisfaction that has been derived. Let's suppose I go to a restaurant and I have ordered multiple dishes, and in what happens, I rate according to the rank. I give the rank one to the best food that I found there, and rank to the the second best food over there. So I'm giving the ranks, but not saying it was 10 on 10. I'm not giving the numbers, right? I'm not justifying the satisfaction that I have received in terms of number, right? So it states that the satisfaction the consumer derive from the consumption of goods and services cannot be measured in number in ordinal. If you have to remember, in ordinal approach, goods the consumption of goods and services, the satisfaction that a consumer derives from consumption of goods and services cannot be measured in numbers. That's the basic difference between ordinal and cardinal. In cardinal you can measure the satisfaction in numbers, in ordinal you cannot do that. So in this we use ranking system, right? According to ordinal utility, the goods and services that offer a customers a high level of satisfaction will be assigned higher ranks, and that offers a low level of satisfaction will be assigned lower rank. So these are the approaches. There are two types of utility: cardinal and ordinal. I hope, and I'm sorry for the the misplacement, because certainly there was some error over there. It is ordinal, right? And this one, the first one, is cardinal utility. I hope the difference is crystal clear with all of those who are watching the video. And certainly you have to remember what cardinal utility approach is also known as marginal utility analysis or Alfred Marshall utility analysis. because UGC net won't ask you to the direct question, they will ask you tricky questions. And certainly what happens usually, well, I have been in touch with many of the aspirants, so what they do is basically study this thing. And what does cardinal utility, they are very well aware about this, but they are not very sure about what it is also known as. It is also known as marginal utility analysis or Alfred Marshall utility analysis, so where that's very important. While we're talking about ordinal utility analysis, in this you need to know the indifference. It is also known as indifference curve analysis or JR Hicks analysis, because you won't be getting a straight away question as I just told you this, right? So the difference is, I think everyone is clear with this. In this, you cannot measure the satisfaction that you receive from goods or services, from the consumption of goods and services in numbers, but in cardinal you can do that, and you give ranks uh, to the goods and the services that you have received in order of the satisfaction they provide you, right? So this is about the utility approaches. Now the next concept that I think most of you must be aware with, total utility and marginal utility. So total utility is the total psychological satisfaction a consumer obtains from consuming a given amount of a particular good. Alternatively, total utility is the sum of marginal utilities obtained from consumption of successive units of a commodity, and it is measured in utils. So I'll talk about this with the help of an example. So my total utility in the example that I was sharing with you, let's suppose when I came back home and I'm thirsty and I want water, so I drank one glass of water, then I drank second glass of water, then I drank third glass of water, and after that I drank fourth glass of water. So utility will be added, and the total, let's suppose I'm getting 10 utility from one glass of water, then my total utility will be 40 in the example which I have explained you, because 10, 10, 10 per glass, and that will be 40 for total, right? So, and what is marginal utility? Marginal utility is the additional utility derived from consumption of an additional unit of a commodity, right? So what happens basically in the example that I am telling you guys is marginal utility will be 10, because 10 is the extra utility that I am receiving while having another glass of water. But what usually happens, because I explained you for for your basic understanding, but what usually happens when I'm drinking the first glass of water, then my utility will be 10. But when I'm drinking the second glass of water, my utility will fall. It is not like that it will rise, it will fall, because my thirst will get fulfilled after a while, because for when I came back home, I'm very thirsty. When I had one glass of water, my utility is like being significantly reduced. Now I have had some water. So like we'll discuss with the help of an example that is mentioned over here. That will be very helpful to basically make you understand the concept. So now there are units of X products. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units, and the total utility that is mentioned. So while if I'm consuming unit 1, only one unit of product X, then my utility is 11. Now while if I'm consuming uh, the 2 units of unit X, my total utility is 21, and then 30, 38 corresponding to the units number, and after I'm consuming 8 units, my total utility is 60. But now if we're talking about the marginal utility, now in case of marginal utility, if I'm consuming one more unit extra after unit 1, then my marginal utility is 10. Now if I'm consuming one more unit after unit 2, my marginal utility is 9. If I'm consuming one more unit after unit 3, my marginal utility is 8. So my marginal utility is falling, and it will be negative after a while. So if I have to tell you, if I continue with my example, when I came back home and I had one glass of water, my total utility was 11. Then I had another glass of water, then my total utility is 21. But my marginal utility, because my thirst is getting fulfilled, my marginal utility is falling. That the next time if I am having my water, then my marginal utility will be reduced by, not exactly by this, but yeah, more, because I cannot have more than 5 or 6 glasses of water. After a while I'll say I'll stop. My thirst is all contained now. My thirst is all fulfilled. I'm done. I don't have to drink any more water, because, and if I'm offered water after that, my marginal utility is zero. I cannot have that over, and someone still offer me that, have some sip, but your marginal utility can be negative as well. So this is about total unit utility and marginal utility. I hope the concept is crystal clear and with the help of example as well, right? uh, the first example where I told you about that my total utility is 40, that won't happen usually, because your marginal utility does fall and your total utility won't be 40. Let's suppose if I have to talk about that example again. Now, if when I came back home, when I drank first glass of water, my total utility is 10. When I drank second glass of water, my total utility is 19, then 28, then 36, and my marginal utility will be 10, 9, 8, oh, 10, 9, and 8 and 7. So that's how, marginal utility that will also fall. So that's all about total utility and marginal utility. To make it more crystal clear, I will, share the diagram as well. So what usually happens, the total utility, it goes up and up and up slowly, but after a while it saturates and then it start following, right? So in this example you'll see that not in this example there is not enough units, and that this picture is not exactly the reference for this. So if we're talking about the total utility, then total utility is increasing by some number of units, and after a while when it has saturated it started following, right? And when it reaches saturation, your marginal utility is zero. When your total utility reaches the top, the maximum, right, and then it starts following, then your marginal utility is zero. And when it starts all more following, then more falling, then if when it's more falling, then your marginal utility goes negative, right? So this is all about total utility and marginal utility.